I mean, for those individuals who feels that safety is not important, they got another thing coming to them, because liability issues, people lawsuits, and the whole 9 yards if we don't practice the safety.
Thank you for being a devoted listener of this podcast, Beyond Clean with Ace, dedicated to healthy, positive, and proactive content to support individuals primarily in the cleaning industry. Are you a facilities manager, a frontline staff member, or a building services contractor and are looking for knowledge that will help you advance both personally and professionally? Beyond Clean with Ace is now in Season 7, and speakers have consistently brought us messages which parallel our key focus of providing proactive knowledge. Many times the conversations here go beyond cleaning toilets, windows, and floors and helping individuals on a personal level. Subscribe and share with others so that everyone's life can be enhanced in healthy, positive, and proactive ways. And now, let's join Dave Thompson, Director of the Academy of Cleaning Excellence and your host here at Beyond Clean with Ace.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dave Thompson. I'm your host today, and as you can see, I've got Hector with me. We're here to talk, well, not just cleaning, because the podcast is Beyond Clean. Hector, you and I are both in Florida. This is kind of unusual for me. I usually talk to people all over the country, and we're in the same state.
Yes, sir. Not that far away from each other neither.
Okay, so it's the first week of October in 2023 as we record this. Before we get into our subject that we want to talk about today, Hector, tell everybody who you are, what you've done, and I mean, why should they listen to you today?
Well, Mr. Dave Thomas, it was like always. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. I know we met over at the Orlando City Hall at one point. It was a blast. I learned a lot of stuff from you just for that little short period of time. But yeah, I normally came from New York. I was working over with the Cushman and Wakefield for about 13 years. I was a floor technician. Then I became a floor specialist. And then I moved over to the state of Florida with Cushman and Wakefield. Then I moved over to Owens Realty Services, where we was doing all over Orlando and Tampa and Sarasota area, doing a lot of terrazzo, marble, granite, flooring, VCT flooring, and stuff like that. So now I'm over here at the AC by Marriott. I'm the chief engineer here. I do train my my housemans here and my maintenance guys on how to maintain our carpets and our floorings and our stuff like that. So it's a pretty good thing.
Now that has to be quite a change, because you were dealing, when we met 3 years ago, you were dealing with hard floors, as you said, terrazzo and the hard floors. And now you're talking carpet and housekeeping. What a change.
Very, very big of a change. But the same process is still the same, no matter where you go.
And what is that?
Well, we try to maintain a high level of cleanliness in our area for our environmental services for our hotel and for our guests, making sure that our floors are nice and clean and our carpets are spick and span and our bathroom is being maintained properly. So, yeah.
Okay, so I think now what you're dealing with is you're dealing more with people rather than the material itself, right?
Absolutely. So, you got a massive high traffic flow coming in and out on a day-to-day basis. You can't run away from it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if folks, we're talking cleaning here, and floor care is true to my heart. That's what I've done all my career. And you're pretty much doing it when nobody's there. You went into hospitality. That's not so true.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's difficult to do things. I mean, it's a little bit easier to do things when no one is around, and then It's a little bit harder to do things when there's a massive amount of people walking back and forth and making sure our safety cones are up and, practicing great practice of safety. So in that process, it's a little bit difficult, but it gets done.
Okay, so you hit one of my big words, Hector, safety. I mean, it doesn't really matter whether you're working nights or during the day. It's all about safety when it comes to the cleaning profession.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, for those individuals who feels that safety is not important, they got another thing coming to them, because liability issues, people lawsuits, and the whole 9 yards if we don't practice the safety.
Well, safety goes even beyond that, because, when we're dealing with floor care chemicals, which is what you did for, a dozen years, over a decade.
Yeah.
You're talking about inhalation of fumes. That's what I recognize, and what gave me the problems I have.
Yeah.
How do you still feel about people doing floors? I mean, I know that that's not your main thing anymore, but I see all your posts on LinkedIn. You're still watching those floors.
Oh man, I cannot ever, never in my life not think about flooring. Taking something from so dirty and nasty and bringing it back up to life and making it look good, and then doing it the right process to maintain it going forward. I can never forget that at all. But yeah,
Okay, so give everybody a clue of what you said the right process is, because I got some people that are coming here to classes and they want to argue about how to take care of natural floors. Let's get your take on it.
Well, honestly, I consider myself as an individual that specializes in it, but I don't consider myself a professional. It's a very big thing. It's a very different things, because of the simple fact that I'm still in the process of still learning different ideas, from other people. But at the same token, stone floors is very, very important. I mean, you don't want to cover the floors with like 50 massive coats of wax on it when it doesn't need it.
I call it the saran wrap look.
Yeah, and it's just what people don't understand is that they look at solid. When you buy a case of wax, let's say, for example, I'm going to go buy a case of floor finish. And let me tell you something right now, Dave. I learned that word from you. You knew I was about ready to get you. I always used to say wax. And, when I met with you, you was like, nah, it's floor finish. So, so I took that word with me to this day, and I keep it going with a lot of people. But yeah, floor finish, a lot of individuals don't understand that you have a solid and it becomes a soft base. It depends on how much do you put on the floor. If an individual is going to put 10 coats of wax on the floor, 10 coats of floor finish on the floor, it'll become more of a soft base floor. It's no longer hard. So I keep my floor coatings. If I'm gonna do like a VCT flooring, I'll keep it to a minimum of 4 coats. And I polish it with my burnishing pads, and I make it harder so it won't become something that is so soft based that a chair will scratch it. And then you can't bring it back to life. You're gonna have to strip the whole floor down. So I explain to a lot of individuals, if you keep it at a low base, believe you me, it's gonna be nice and hard. It's gonna be nice and solid, and you just maintain it as you go. But when you're dealing with terrazzo and marble, I learned this from when I was living in New York. I was working at the College of Mount St. Vincent down in Riverdale, and it's in Yonkers. So that college is a very big college, but it's on a very high and low slope. So you have we got the different weathers there. You got rain, you got snow, you got salt, you got X amount of stuff.
Yep.
So dealing with that type of terrazzo flooring, when I had a rep come out one time, and this was like all the way in 1996, he came out and he did me a little sample of a diamond on the floor, and man,
changed your world.
It changed everything. I mean, it changed my perspective on how I look at stone floors now. So it's like he was explaining the science to me about it in regards to stone floors need to breathe.
Right.
They need to breathe, and it can shine naturally on its own. All you gotta do is maintain it, and it will be if you look at how long it takes for you to strip a floor from a floor that has like 40, 50 coats of wax on it and years of being neglected, people just top scrub and recoat
and lay more on it right over the dirt and everything else.
And it's like, wow. So imagine when you strip it all down and you get the natural. The aggregates, each aggregates make a characteristic to the floor. You got the mother of pearl, and then you have the regular diamonds. It just looks so beautiful and so nice that it's then on the top of that, the environment where you're working in. So for example, when we did Amway, Amway was so cluttered, and not to talk bad about Owens Realty Services or anything like that. I'm just talking about specific of the floor itself.
Yeah.
So when I walked into Amway, they had mountains of wax. I mean, mountains of wax, of years of wax, right? So when you walk into the Amway, you felt the moisture. right? The moisture of the air, the humidity level was high. They had to keep the AC running really good for you to get some type of cool air in it, right? So when we stripped the floor down, you could basically feel the difference between the temperature of your area, because now the floors, the minerals, the aggregates are open, they breathing, the air is good. Hey, I would never trade it for the world, man.
But,
Never.
and what you just said is what a lot of people simply don't realize, Hector, is that, concrete is a stone floor. I mean,
Yeah.
it breathes all the time. Everybody thinks, concrete, well, nothing comes through. Hey, I just saw some people the other last month that their LV product is popping off the floor because of the moisture coming through the concrete.
Absolutely.
And terrazzo is concrete with marble chips. Well, if you got good terrazzo anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, you got the Orlando City Hall. The Orlando City Hall is basically a Portland terrazzo, which is a more natural terrazzo versus Amway. Amway is an epoxy-based terrazzo. So, you will definitely need different steps for your epoxy terrazzo versus...
Yeah, it's totally different game. We're still naturally polishing, but it's more abrasive rather than abrasive and chemical.
Yes. What I saw between Amway and Orlando City Hall, the difference between the flooring is that one is basically made out of a liquid, which is the epoxy terrazzo, and the other one is out of natural cement. So a lot of individuals are saying, hey, why the texture are different? So, I mean, it's the same stones, but the way they install it is completely different. Like, if you take a terrazzo flooring for a Portland terrazzo, it would take about, maybe to install, let's say we do a little small section, let's say 1,000 square feet, it would take about maybe a month for it to cure. For the epoxy terrazzo, it would take about 2 weeks. And you get
because we're talking a different substrate. And the other thing is you don't have pure marble in the epoxy anymore.
No, you don't.
It's full of liquid. Well, I know we need to keep this clean today, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know about you, but I've seen some epoxy floors that are full of just everything. I think they dumped the garbage can out.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know what, man? I done seen it. I done seen an area one time that I went over when I was working over in Owens. I went over to an area and it had the floor by itself had like different layers of type of wax. So it's like, okay, so I have wax mixed with sealer mixed with a top coat. It was just unbelievable.
And this just goes to, Hector, what you're saying here is that people feel that a floor is a floor and I can just dump floor finish on it. And I have people come in here to the classroom all the time. Well, just give me a quick and easy. Is there some floor finish I can dump on it? Sure. Go right ahead and dump whatever you want onto it and then call me back when you have the problem, because you will.
Absolutely. They're going to have a very big problem. And on top of that note, is like this. If for a company, we look at more cost-effective alternatives. We try to get into the knowledge to basically understand what kind of terrazzo we have, or what kind of ceramic floor we have, or what kind of, regular type of stone that they might have and might not have.
And this means that you, back to your professional thing that you were talking about, we have to be more in tune with what the floor substrate is to use the actual right process and change with every floor type rather than one size fits all.
Absolutely. Because it might not hurt you at that moment. If you want to put wax or you want to put floor finish on anything, then you go right ahead. But I can guarantee you that down the line, it's going to cost you more to strip it down and to do it the right way the first time.
Hey, you flip that over and you start now talking about carpet and you start using all kinds of high pH chemicals on carpet, you're dealing with the same kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And then it all depends on the type of carpet. Sometimes they got the long strain carpets, the short strain carpets, the regular commercial carpets. So you just added on more of a problem as you go down the line.
Now, you went over to the hospitality, and correct me if I'm wrong here for everybody listening and watching today. luxury vinyl floors. Are you dealing with that now?
No. Our hotel, our floors are basically ceramic marble ceramic floors, which is more of the ceramic side more than marble. So, you know, that's the part that a lot of people, they think, hey, it's ceramic, it can shine. No, it looks like marble. No, it's not marble. It's ceramic. You can't diamond that, you know, because if you try to diamond it, you're gonna crack it.
Yeah, it is what it is. You don't enhance it. You don't make it better. That's the beauty about porcelain and ceramic. You take, I mean, the grout is your cleaning issue.
Yep, that's it. That's just about it. But when you're dealing with the ceramic, a lot of individuals say, "Oh, it's marble." It's not marble. It's not marble at all. I mean, a ceramic tile is about this thick. A marble tile is this thick. You know, some people don't understand that process at times. So they want to do the same thing that they did with the marble floor and the ceramic floor, and the next thing you know, they don't understand that the ceramic floor has one film, and the film is less than an inch thick. So if you look at the ceramic floor, take a look at the tile, and look at the top part of the tile, that basically give you that image of a marble look or a Carrara marble look or whichever type of marble that's out there, limestone or anything else, and you look at that film, and that film is very tiny. So imagine you try to diamond that, it's gonna rip it apart, and now you're gonna see this whole brown ceramic at the bottom.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the thing is, you know, whenever I teach my restroom class, because in most cases all around the country, you know, our ceramic and porcelains in restrooms, and we just don't know how to take care of them right, which goes back to now you're in hospitality. Now you throw infection prevention in all on top of all that, and the disinfectants and all the films that are left.
And the thing is that a lot of individuals that when they're doing a bathroom and they're using a side-by-side or orbital machine and they're scrubbing the grout out and making it look good, a lot of individuals like to use a lot of acid and it breaks the grout out. And next thing you know, you got a flapping, you know, tile all over the place.
Yeah, we go use acid on the grout, and now the grout's even more of a problem. They created even more of a problem than it was before. So, let's go dump some floor finish on it and create more problem. Why don't we?
Yep. And then the most important thing that they don't do is rinse the floor properly.
Oh my! Don't get me off on rinsing, Hector. Don't get me started on that today.
Yeah, I was looking at your blog the other day, and it was true. You know, a lot of, you know, you have, for example, terrazzo, marble, granite. They're all stone floors. They have an open pores. So if you don't rinse that floor right several times, when you put whatever protection you want to put on top of it, it ain't gonna adhesive to itself. It's not gonna stick. It's gonna rip apart as you go. And that's because of the dirty water that's underneath of it. They just don't see it, Tom. They don't see it, Dave.
Yeah, and folks, don't mop a floor. Just don't mop floors. Mops are just terrible.
Absolutely. It's very, very bad. You know, so I like to use the auto scrubber and scrub up and pick up my water.
I'll give you 2 thumbs up on that one there, Hector. Hey, you know what? I know that you're busy. I can see people coming in and out of there. I appreciate your time. Folks, if you want to get hold of Hector, here's his email. It's up there on the screen. You can catch him on LinkedIn. You know what? You might not know Hector, just as a side note. You know, the day that I saw you downtown 3 years ago, that was the day I had my 2 heart attacks.
Yep, I remember, man. And it was very, very, very sad to hear what happened after we did our tour of the whole building in City Hall. I was like, what?
But here we are, man.
Yeah, man. You're just a strong man, dude. There you go.
Hey, they can try to keep this down. You know, I think there's one thing interesting about the cleaning industry. I had a gentleman that retired from it, and I said, "What are you going to be doing?" He goes, "You know, Dave, I got to tell you, once you've been in the cleaning industry, it just doesn't let go. I can't ever leave it." And here we are.
No,
I know you're in hospitality, but here you are. You can't quit talking about floors.
Cannot, man. My wife hates that.
Yeah, do you walk around with your head glued to the floor?
Yes, I go places. I go to places, little malls and stuff like that, and to different hotels and to different places, and the most thing that I like to go do is look at the school system. So when I go to the school system, for example, like my son, he just finished, graduating high school at Bogie Ciega over here in St. Pete, and the VCT flooring was like really bad. So I had spoken to one of the guys down there, and I gave him some pointers. And when I came back for my son's basketball game, when I came back, the floor was looking beautiful, and I was like, "Dude, you're the man." And he felt so happy, that someone actually was able to give him some pointers. I mean, it's one thing of going somewhere and always discrediting the individual for, hey man, you got a lot of buildup in the corners. You're not stripping your corners correctly, or you're not doing this and you're not doing that. They just don't pay attention to the detail portion, and that your middle of your floor can look beautiful, but when your corners and your edges look horrible, that's going to be a questionable thing. It makes it all fall right back down. So you have a good vision from the middle, but the details is like, now if the details was great and your middle was great, now your whole floor looks awesome.
Yeah, man, it is what the floor is wall to wall, but I think this is one of the things. You took the time to give somebody some information and help them out. They took that information, they did something, and you recognized it. That's what this is all about.
Absolutely. I love going to small businesses and meeting up with their floor technicians and giving them some pointers, some ideas. It's one thing that me as a technician, and you tell, back in the days when you was a technician, it's like you walk into a building and you look at the floors. By the experience that we have now, we could determine more or less on how much coat is on that floor just because of the lumps and the grooves of it. And the floor is looking like a wave. And then you asking yourself, man, this floor was not built that way.
No. We coded it and made it that way.
That's it. We thought we was creating a design, but you're not creating a design. You're just creating a massive issue in the long run when you got to strip it down. And that's a lot of things that a lot of big companies and small companies don't realize. They go into these, for example, you go into to make a bid on a job site, and if you don't have someone that have experience on this particular topic, like flooring, for example, it gets overlooked. And then a lot of companies they lose financial stability of it because they didn't know what they was getting themselves into in the beginning. So they think, oh, I'm gonna just apply massive amount of wax on this floor, make it worse for the next person who have to strip it down. But the next person is you. You got to strip it down now.
I think one of the interesting things about this topic, Hector, is trying to get people to understand that if you'll take the time to do it, what I consider doing it right to begin with, which is the natural polishing we're talking about, is that the life cycle cost actually goes down.
Absolutely.
And people can't realize that they see this big figure right at the start, but yet if you look over a 10-year period of the life cycle of that floor, it goes the other way. But they can't seem to go there. That's not what I'm saying. Do you feel the same?
I feel the same way. And not to, put a lot of companies down in that issue, but yeah, it is. They complain later on in the long run. Oh, I'm spending massive amount of labor on this particular floor. I'm using a lot of financials for the products for this particular floor. Well, you look at it like this, Dave. How much do you think it costs? Okay, to put a layer of VCT flooring on a floor that's basically 1,200 square feet. Let's just say, how much do you think it costs to put down that tile on that floor? Not much. Not much at all. But how much does it cost to put down 1,200 square footage of terrazzo? Okay?
The initial investment is quite different.
Yes. But listen, it's like a Bentley. Would you put Toyota tires on a Bentley?
I don't think so.
No, I won't. I won't at all. I won't at all, right? So
no, I would say it this way. If I had a Bentley, that's about all I could afford right now. But
absolutely no. But it's like I have a terrazzo flooring, and it's 1,200 square feet. It cost me maybe, let's say, $15,000 to put down. Let's just say, I'm just giving you a rough number, right? $15,000 to put down, and now it's costing me maybe $25,000 to maintain it, because every month I'm having somebody come in to put 2 coats or 3 coats of wax on it, and top scrub it and just put more wax on it, right? And that's it. That's just about it. But now my floor is starting to crack. Now my terrazzo aggregates is starting to pour up all this nasty water film from the bottom, because it needs to breathe.
And it will pop.
Yes. And I've seen it. And I've seen it with my own eyes. And people don't understand that. They don't understand that. I mean, I know you want to be financially great, but at the same token, let's do the science. Let's do the science. Let's do the math to it. So if you maintain it, you just save more money.
I think what's so interesting is, Hector, people forget we're in the maintenance business. Maintenance does not mean we do the least amount that we can. Maintenance is taking care of something.
Yes.
And that's what I can't understand about the cleaning industry, how many people still don't get it here. I mean, it's 2023, but gosh, I mean, why are we still stuck in, and it's evident. People that grab an old sloppy one-hole mop bucket and start mopping the floor, why do we even have them on the planet anymore?
Yep.
I mean, it just goes to show what you're fighting. Now, you know what, before you go, I want to just kind of get a take on how has your life changed now that you're in hospitality?
It didn't change. It didn't change at all. It's almost the same thing, but instead of dealing with floors, I'm dealing with everything else. So, I'm not just dealing with, with the regular cleanliness, and I'm also dealing, as a chief engineer, I'm also dealing with our AC units here at the hotel, our electrical, our plumbing, our generators, our water heaters and stuff like that, just to make sure that the hotel is running the way it's supposed to. And at the same token is the appearance of our hotel. So, meaning that I have the background in flooring and housekeeping management, and now a chief engineer, my next step is to be the director of facilities. That's going to be my next step. So I'm just going through the process just to gain, all the experience that I can possibly get. So when I get to the director of facilities, I already know the process. So here, we're not just fixing AC units and unclogging toilets. We are also here to to make sure the bathrooms are clean and our floors is looking great. So having that trade in me helps our hotel to advance on a cleansing level where our QA scores and making our hotel look the way it needs to be.
Well, folks, I don't know about you, but I heard another podcast coming, Facility Manager. What does it take to maintain a facility? That's going to be our next podcast with Hector. Hector, before you go, because I know you're got to get the Monday going and all that, and I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Where were you born?
Where I was born in Ponce, Puerto Rico.
Okay. And we're getting ready to go into a new year here pretty soon. I know it's October, but we're getting ready to go on new year. 2024 is coming up.
In a blink of an eye.
What's on your personal bucket list for 2024?
Well, to continue on helping individuals advance at this industry on flooring. That will be my goal. It will.
Oh, no. That's your business goal. Your personal goal for you only.
For me only is to continue on talking with Mr. Dave Thompson and gain as much knowledge as I could possibly gain.
All right. I'll take that. So, folks, you know that we're going to have Hector back on next year. If you want to get hold of Hector, there's his email address. We'll put it in the show notes if you're just listening to the podcast. Hector, I appreciate your time this morning. It's great. Hey, it's always good to talk to somebody that you talked to in the past. We've kept in touch. Thank you for watching the podcast and all the stuff. And thanks for helping people out there.
Man, thank you for continuing on doing this podcast on LinkedIn for everyone to see, and gain some type of understanding. You know, everybody wants to be their own way. You know, everybody, oh, I could do it better, or I could do it like this, or I could do it like that. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be something that someone said that will help you along the line.
You know, I think the thing is, we don't stop learning, do we?
We don't. We don't stop learning. I'm sorry. The most essential lights just turned off on me.
It's time to go. I thank you for your time. We'll see you next time on the podcast.
Many blessings, my man. Have a great one.